This is a demonstration of the SmartDraft customization options. This assumes you have already installed and set up SmartDraft either through documents that you've downloaded from our website or by reviewing the SmartDraft installation video also available. So inside AutoCAD, it's important to understand that SmartDraft is a highly customizable program, and the means SmartDraft uses to be customized are called customization templates. You can see what customization template is being used in a drawing by selecting the drawing settings option, and in that dialog box looking at what customization template is associated to the current drawing. Here you can see by default there are two customization templates installed right out of the box. One called default NCS, which stands for National CAD Standards, or at least the CAD standards as interpreted by the inventors of SmartDraft. Also, if you were to go into the program options and look at customization templates, you can see where those customization templates are being located. If there are going to be multiple users in an organization using SmartDraft, we recommend that, for one, the software be installed on a server. Two, if that's not the way things are done in your organization, at least the customization templates are placed on the server so that all users can access them from the server, and if a change is made there, it affects all the users instead of having to copy those changes to each workstation as modifications and enhancements are made to SmartDraft. So how do we put our customization templates up on the server? First, you'll notice from the program files that the customization templates are in a folder called Program Data SmartDraft Templates. That's if it was installed on the local hard drive. If it was installed on the server, this folder path would probably indicate the server drive, the installation folder, and then the folder templates. But in this case, it's on the local hard drive. So we can browse to that folder on our local hard drive, find the template folder, make a copy of it, open up a server location. Here we have W. Create a folder. I'm going to name it SmartDraft to make it very easy to see. Underneath that, paste that template folder copied from Program Data SmartDraft. You'll see that it has those two default templates in it. Now, under Program Data, I'll make sure that Customization Template is selected and browse to the W drive SmartDraft template. Not which template I want to choose, but the folder that all the templates are in, so that when I'm using the program, I can choose the appropriate template in case our company has more than one. So now, when you're in here, you're actually pulling those two customization templates off of the W drive, not off of the C drive. So now we would recommend that using the Customization Template Manager, either starting with the default settings or the National CAD Standard settings, that you would create, saving from that template, your own company named template. And if you're going to have more than one for your company, or if you work with different agencies that have different CAD standards, you can have a different customization template for each agency that you work for, and then the layers and text styles that that agency requires within their CAD drawings would be used by SmartDraft. So now you have a customization template named after your company, and it's available for modification. So then how do you set up each user to use that customization template from the beginning? Because if I say drawing setup, I still have those choices. I can be default company name. It's important to understand that once a drawing has been touched by SmartDraft, the customization template associated to that drawing does not change unless the user opens up this command, Drawing Setup, and physically selects a different customization template. So if this drawing started with default, it would stay default until the user specified a different one. But how do you start with a specific template? Under the Users option at each workstation, that person would go User Options and say Use Customization Template, picking the one that's appropriate for their workstation. And now, when a new drawing is created, new drawing, you'll notice that that template is automatically associated with this drawing. Now, why is that important? Let's look at how the customization template actually works by examining one of the commands, north arrow, within the program. So here we can see that currently AutoCAD has layer 0 set current. If we select the SmartDraft tab, go to the Plan View section, pick the north arrow command, and insert the north arrow. This is the north arrow installed with the program. You may not want to use this north arrow. You have your own north arrow that you like and is used throughout your company. Also, we can go back over to Home, see that north, see that the layer is still set to 0, but if we were to select this north arrow, the layer was set to north. So SmartDraft actually looked at the layer database, changed to that layer, inserted a block, and if we looked at it, it would be D-north, and that's important to know because you can use your definition of the north arrow, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So not only can we change the layer that this is going to be on, we can change the definition of the block used. AutoCAD, once a block is inserted in the drawing, it would have to be erased, and you could purge out the definition of that block, so D north, so that a new definition would be used. So going into the help file, the SmartDraft help file, we can determine under Customization, Customization Guide Appendix, going down to the Plan View Tools, finding North Arrow, that the North Arrow uses D-north for 1, D-n, or D-n for 1, D-n1 for 2, D-n2, and D-n3. So if you wanted to use your north arrows for any of those 4 north arrows options that the command allows, you would substitute your blocks, renaming them to these, and putting them into the customization template that you just created called company name. Also, if you want to control which layer it goes on, the layer index is 165. So, first of all, let's go to the customization template, confirm that we're on company name, go to layer database, edit it, type in 165, change it to text-n and color yellow. Apply those changes. It's very important to do that so that it actually shows text-n in this list of the dialog box. Accept those changes by saying OK. When you want to use custom blocks and you have identified the name of that block through the customization appendix guide within the help file, you can actually copy the block that you know the name of, rename it to the appropriate name that SmartDraft needs to have, open up the customization template folder of your company, and paste that file in there. So now you have placed a D-north arrow block within the customization template folder on your server drive. Now when the command is issued, We confirm that we're in the customization template company. Pick the north arrow command. Not only is this north arrow placed on text-N, it's using the block that you told it to use instead of the north arrow block that was installed with the program. Now it's important to understand not all blocks can be substituted with your own block. Some of our blocks have a very specific design to them, and if you do not copy that design, the command would not function properly, such as our elevation label command, which uses a dynamic block which can flip, can have different visibility states, and if you did not copy that block exactly and then made just small changes per your needs, that command may stop functioning altogether. How to copy one of our blocks from the standard installation folder into your customization folder and then allowing you to start modifying it is also done with the Customization Template Manager, where you can say user-defined blocks, say edit, here are the standard blocks straight out of the installation folder. Once you know the name of it, you can say copy it over to the customization template folder. Then it's getting you an exact copy of what we installed from our program, and then you can open that up in AutoCAD, make your modifications, and test to make sure that the commands still work using the new block. Note that that older block has already been inserted into a drawing because you've been using SmartDraft for a time. It won't use your new definition. It will only use that new definition within a file that the block has not been placed in yet. Another very important customization part of SmartDraft is the new drawing settings. And these are settings SmartDraft assigns to a brand new drawing when it's opened up and the first time SmartDraft is used within that drawing. Some of these settings are not overwritten if you're using Civil 3D, like the scale factor. It will honor the scale factor and the unit type set by Civil 3D. But other settings, such as bearing type and the precision settings, these will be used and can be changed by selecting drawing settings after the new drawing has been set up. But these are the default settings for each drawing. So we would want to point out the dim variable settings. When SmartDraft creates a dimension style, it will actually create that style within the drawing, and in this particular case, it prefixes that name of the style it creates with the word SmartDraft. If you wanted to use your company name or some other standard that you have within your organization, you would come in here and change that prefix. Same with multi-liters, and when it does calculations between feet to meters, meters to feet, you can specify what type of scale factor adjustments you want to use so that it can be very specific when it's calculating back and forth. Also, what are the suffix for feet and meters, and what type of arrowhead size do you want SmartDraft to use in its dimension styles. Depending on your plotting setup, you can use the standard AutoCAD fill arrowhead, or you can use the SmartDraft block arrowhead, which will allow you to have a filled block, which for some plotting scenarios, this one works better. But for most cases, filled will work fine. Next is the text styles used by SmartDraft. So whenever a command says it's going to use Plan View Small, the style that it's going to set current is L100. Here's the height, here's the width, obliquing angle, and the font that's associated with that. If you want to change any of those, you would change those values here, select the Apply button, then those changes would appear up top. Note that if you associate L100 as a name, and then say L100 down here and try to set a different height, it will not allow you to do that, and it will cause SmartDraft to be confused. So if you're wanting different heights for these different sizes, small, medium, large, profile, small, medium, large, street, make sure that you assign a different name to each. You'll notice at the very bottom that dimension style is D100, which is not a standard name, and we didn't use the L100 name that is above. This is done specifically, but can be changed to L100. We would recommend to keep it at D100 unless your CAD standards require something different. Because if you're using an L100 and then you change styles back forth, or you're using associative style sizing, using L100 for your dimensions, SmartDraft does some sizing in the back, and then it won't let annotative dimensions work very well. So it's important that this style name for dimensions be different than any of the other style names specified in this dialog box. But this is how you control the styles, heights, widths, obliquing angle, and fonts associated to the styles automatically used by the various commands within SmartDraft. And we do recommend that you change those in the new drawing settings, and then when the user's workstation is associated to your company name standard or your division standard or your department standards, then those settings will flow right through. How you associate a user's workstation to a particular customization template is you start the user options, or they do, and specify which template will be used for new drawings. If a drawing has already been created associated to a different template, it's very easy to change the association by having that drawing open, picking the drawing settings command, and changing to the appropriate customization template. Once that is done, all the values are reread, which then changes the values in here under text styles and dimension variables. Note that if text has already been placed in the drawing before this command has been initialized and the customization template changed, those text styles will not change in the sense of their height. In the Customization Template Manager, you'll notice there's quite a few other things that can be controlled. Not only the layer database, but there's a feature to make layers from a dialog box, and here you can specify, allows you to change those settings of what layers are shown, and editing which indexes are associated with that description. So the user sees a text-based description, and then the program says, I'm going to use these layer database indexes to associate to that text-based description. So then when that command make layer is started off the layer panel, here are those layers. Selecting boundary, just set that layer boundary current. It's important to understand when dealing with layers within SmartDraft that there are 3 different types of layers, and down here in the status it can show you which one is set current. Right here it says proposed, changing the layer type, existing, and demolition. And then if you hit it again, it cycles through. So when you're in this dialog box, it says what type it is, and you can cycle through it here just as well. If you change to the existing boundary, note that now it says boundary-existing, or whatever properties you have elected to associate to those layer database indexes. Again, let's return to the customization template. Also, you can have offset street layer list, profile layer list, point layer list, area table styles, where you're defining things like what values are put into the layer area table style, how wide they are, what various text strings, what font styles are when it comes to those tables. Coordinate tables, so like if you want to print out your northing and easting coordinate tables, various things that are available, northing, easting, elevation descriptor, raw descriptor, prompted note. Labeling styles, so your bearings and distances that will be associated to various lines and arcs. Here you can set up the various label styles, and you can have multiple depending on how you want to label and the different labeling styles you need. Labeling tables, so for when you're tableizing your labels, so here would be the different tables you can do. P-Connect or Field to Finish tool, setting up your description key files. When it comes to legal description styles, you can change your legal description styles. And Style File Manager, where you can copy styles. Maybe you create them in the default and you want to move them from default over to your company standards, and you can move them over because you put them in the wrong place, and now you've created your company standards and you want to get them into the right location. So that is an introduction to Customization Template Manager. And the biggest thing we want you to understand is edit your layer database, entering in your layer standards, colors, line types, any other particular properties associated to the commands, which you can easily find in the Customization Guide Appendix. Here's the command and what indexes are used, and we have documented the commands throughout the program. And when it comes to new drawing settings, setting up the text styles the way your company wants them to be, so when you're using the program, you're not surprised or you're not getting frustrated saying, why is SmartDraft doing it? It's doing it because the program is trying to save you time by doing font management in the background, layer management in the background, so you can focus on what's important, and that is engineering. That is the end of the SmartDraft customization